Hey gang, welcome back to another version of Driving Miss Rachel After Dark. I think this little mirror light here in the car kind of brings out my cheekbones a little more. So this might be my best light. I think my best light is oftentimes dark, like no light at all is usually my best light. I have had some requests from some subscribers who would like me to talk more about sharing your passion for feminine expression with your significant other, or possibly putting your feminine expression back in the closet because you don't want to lose your significant other. And I apologize for all the bumps, but I'm being driven as I am no longer capable of driving myself. I'm kidding. Anyway, if you want me to, if I guess if I had to say this, I can only speak about myself, but if I wanted to give you my life history, before I had a significant other, of course, I found an attraction to feminine clothes, and very, loved the feel of the clothing, loved the way I felt when I wore the clothing. Met a woman, or I should say I subsequently almost killed myself with drugs and alcohol because of the way I felt while wearing women's clothing, thinking that there was something wrong with me. Eventually I sobered up and I got some help, and I talked to a psychologist, and I met a woman, and this is when I was like 23, 24, met a woman who was okay with my cross-dressing, and we actually, were intimate while I was cross-dressed, and it was really cool. Of course, a 24-year-old male, right? I mean, I could do it any way you want to do it, but I did it when I did it cross-dressed. She didn't care. She liked it. That relationship didn't work out eventually, and I had to leave that baggage behind, and I had to leave that fear of her telling her next lover all about me behind, and I got over it. So when you share yourself with someone else, you can never count on them not sharing your secret with other people. So it's scary. I met another girl who I told about my feelings, and I didn't really understand them yet, but didn't know why I like to express myself in women's clothing, but and she didn't want anything to do with it. She broke off our relationship. Met a third girl, got a little bit wiser, realized, there was, had to tell her. It was that strong. I didn't want to put it in the closet. And I apologize for the noise in the back. My dog is chewing on a deer antler that he found today out in the swamp. And if I try to take it away from him, he already bit half of my arm off, and it's painful. I'm speaking through the pain right now, but I'm not going to take that antler away from him. Okay, to short answer. He keeps the antler. Anyway, excuse me. Decided that she might be the girl for me, so I said I better tell her, and I told her. And I said, I like to wear women's clothes. I can't stop. Been to a psychologist. Drank over it. Drugged over it for years. Now I'm sober. If you can take me as, I can't stop. It's going to happen again. No, I don't I'm not going to ask you to let me just be dress like a woman with you everywhere. No, we'll keep it secret. And she thought about it for a couple of days, and she said, yeah, that's okay. She saw something else in me that, didn't bother her. She's like, yeah, you know what? He's a pretty cool guy. I'll do it. I'll go forward with him. I eventually proposed to her, and then still not understanding that I'm trans, that I'm transgender, and I'm probably transsexual. I realized that I don't know if I want to tie this woman up in a marriage and a commitment for life when I might want to be a woman someday. So I broke it off. I broke off the engagement. And it was everything that you might expect. She left she stormed away from me, angry. And she had her family, her brothers, come in and clean our house out the next day while I was at work. That we were living together at the time, and she cleaned the house out, and I came home to an empty house, no curtains, none of the stuff that she had done to the house to make it her home. And I realized what a terrible mistake I'd made. So I spent the next 4 weeks trying to get her back. I can't remember. I may have told her, "Oh, honey, don't worry. I'll never cross-dress again." I don't think I told her that. She never said that I did, but I probably said something like, "It's okay that I can't live without you. I don't have to be a girl. I don't want to be a girl. But I can't live without you. This hurts too much being without you." So, long story short, of course, it means more to me than the time I'm giving it right now. But long story short, she came back once again. I don't know. There's got to be something going on here that I don't understand, because she's a great gal and a hell of a catch, and she kept seeing something in me that she wanted, so she came back, and I'm still looking for it. Anyway, subsequently we decided we would raise a family, and we would keep my cross-dressing secret a secret from everybody and and any kids we had. And so we did it, and she didn't want to see me. She didn't want to see me cross-dressed. She was in love with my macho, masculine, handsome, if you will. I'm going to ask you for a lot of leeway here. Handsome image, and she didn't want to have that ruined by seeing me in a dress. And I get it. That went on, and I respected that. It went on and on. But this thing that I have in me, this girl, if you will, for lack of a better way of describing it, this girl in me kept pushing to get out. So the more I gave into it, and the more I found a support group and went to a support group and hung out with other people like me, the more the girl wanted to come out. So the more I would talk about it, and then the more I would become frustrated and anxious and short-tempered when I wasn't expressing myself as a girl. She would say, "You know what? You're nicer to be around when you go out and you dress, and I can handle you and I can deal with you and your moods for a month. If you want to go out once a month, that's fine. Just as long as nobody catches you, that's fine." Well, I would try to push it off, and of course I worked a lot of hours, and I was trying to provide for my family, so it just wasn't. There might have been 3-4 months when I didn't dress. I dressed at home when I had the chance. As a construction worker, sometimes when it rains, you don't work, so I might be home, and I'd dress at home for a while. Never letting the children see it or anything like that. She eventually began to make clothes for me as a seamstress. She likes to make clothes and things. She would make clothes for me and make dresses for me and custom fit them and all that stuff. But she didn't see me in full makeup. Just me without makeup. Standing for the clothes to be fitted. She was very, very supportive under the circumstances, in my opinion. I didn't tell her initially I want to be a woman, because I didn't believe initially I would be happy as a woman. my whole life has been a denial of what I could be. So I certainly wouldn't tell the most important person in my life anything that would scare her away. This girl inside of me, though, began to gain control. I began to become more feminine in my expression, better with makeup, paying more attention to things, trying to figure out how to change my shape, my body, my face to make myself look more feminine. And I liked it. I mean, I liked the results. I was happy with the results. I got compliments from people. That's why I'm on. That's why you're watching me right now. I feed off of this. Today, after 31 years, 3 years ago, it came to a head. 3.5 or 4 years ago, it came to a head. I was going out 3 nights a week. I was going to gay bars. I had dropped 65 pounds. I weighed like 149 pounds. I was doing everything I could to look like a woman. I wanted to be as skinny as I possibly could be. I was wearing skimpy, sexy, crazy, stupid, teenage puberty girl clothes and things like that, and hanging out in gay bars. You think my heterosexual Catholic wife was a little bit worried about me maybe cheating on her? I told her, it came to a head one day, and I said, I want to try hormonal replacement therapy. I really think it will make me feel better. And she looked me in the eye and said, you don't like who you are as a man. You are not happy with you, so yeah, go right ahead and try it. Now, she's in the medical field, so she had some understanding of the fact that I might have a hormonal imbalance. That might be all it took to get me going on the right track. And hormonal replacement therapy has calmed me down. No, I don't dress like a $3 hooker anymore. And you know what? That's a phrase that we use here in the Midwest to mean a trashy woman. Is it derogatory? Yeah. Is it not politically correct? Absolutely. But when you're 5'10", you weigh 145 pounds, you're a man, and you wear a tube dress that stops about 10 inches above your knee, you look like a fucking $3 whore. Okay? And the heels don't hurt either. I'll call it what it is. That was what I believe my adrenaline charged feminine expression, my testosterone charged feminine expression. Okay? Wanting to look like how I would want a woman to look, a sexy woman to look, wanting to be sexy. And that's okay. And a lot of us go through that puberty. A lot of us do that. All right? But I grew out of it, thank God. And hormonal replacement therapy has calmed me down and allowed my marriage to stay where it is. I go out. I express myself as a woman all the time. Often. All the time. I have friends who know me as trans, and I don't have to put on makeup. They know me as trans. I present as male, if you will. But in my opinion, I'm not really presenting as male. I'm just presenting as me without any makeup or false breasts or hip pads. They know me. They know I'm transgender. They know I'm transsexual. They watch my videos, and they work with me in the construction field. Now, making this work with your spouse requires the right spouse. Okay? But it also requires a compassion on your part, empathy on your part. I believe the vast majority of trans people who call themselves cross-dressers just don't understand or are in perpetual denial of who they or what they really feel. They just don't want to open that door. And I don't blame you. So you met a girl and you're afraid to tell her you're trans, or you did, and she said, well, you know what? You could be trans with somebody else. and you said, you know what? No, 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 no. I love you. I don't want to lose you. I don't have to be trans with you. Now you got to put all that shit back in the closet. Well, I hope you haven't let that girl out for a long time. If you let that girl out for a long time, it's going to be really hard to keep her in the closet. In my experience, I'm not trying to, I mean, it could happen. It all depends on your level of what used to be called gender identity disorder and is now called gender dysphoria, because they wanted to get the stigma away from it. It all depends on that level. Where is that level? Are you just a fetish crossdresser that likes to masturbate in women's clothes, and you're all good with that, and that's fine? Then keep it to your fucking self, because that's all it needs to go. That's the only place it needs to go. You and the mirror, all right, and whatever sex toys you can find. If you want to be out on the sidewalk meeting people as a woman, then you need to tell your spouse, and you need to think about being that woman so that you could be happy and you could express yourself. Okay? Hey, now that's two ends of the spectrum. If you're somewhere in between or you're somewhere in denial, you have to think about what's in your best interest. Maybe don't tell this girl, but by gosh, before you put a ring on it, you need to sit down with a therapist, tell her your honest thoughts. If you can't be honest with yourself and you can't understand what you are, don't drag somebody else into your life and make this kind of a commitment that could cost you half of your fortune someday, or most of your fortune someday. Now I'm going to get real catty and real judgmental, but there's some trans girls out there who make all the money and their wives are completely dependent on them for everything. And they've decided that they have to be a girl. And mama's just going to have to deal with it. And in my opinion, that's wrong. In my opinion, if you're so good at making money, and you're so good at handling everything, then you can give half of it to her and go forward, make some more fucking money for yourself, and be a girl. I hope I get some comments on that, because that's just how I feel. I know we got some bumpy roads here. Putting this thing in the closet and hoping that it doesn't come back out to haunt you, purging your clothing and throwing everything in a garbage dumpster, throwing it away, or disposing of it after you came to after you had some kind of a sexual release while wearing those clothes, it's gonna come back. They're just gonna come back. You're gonna see a hot chick, and you're gonna go, "Oh my gosh, I got to do this again. I got to go to the store and get some more clothes because I threw all mine out." Don't do that. It just costs money. You got to figure out where you're at on this spectrum, and you got to figure out how important it is for you to express yourself as a woman. And if you can keep it in the closet, and you can, and that's where you're at, that's fine. And I'm not judging you, but you have to know what you are. I went my whole life not knowing what I was, and somehow, because of the graduality of it, if that is a word, I have been able to keep my marriage. My children support me. But my one daughter's getting married in over a year from now, and I'm giving her away, and I promised her I would give her away as her father. This is the kind of give and take that I'm talking about. I could go and have breast augmentation next month. I could go and have facial feminization surgery next year. I could do a whole bunch of shit before her wedding, but I'm not going to do it because she wants her father to give her away. So I'm going to give her away as her father. And yes, I'm still on hormonal replacement therapy. And yes, I feel really good and I feel really calm. And as you can tell by the sincerity of this video, how calm I can be. And I'm very empathetic. And I love all of those characteristics that have come out in me since I got my hormone level right in my brain. But you got to figure out what it is. If there's a girl that you just can't live without, maybe you guys could just be really good friends and like girlfriends, but you can't be married. I don't know. This is a personal decision, but you can't make it until you're honest with yourself and you get professional counseling and you're honest with yourself. Then you can make that very, very important, probably the most important decision you'll ever make decision. I wish I had a magic wand that I could wave over you and say, you know, you don't have to be a cross-dresser anymore, or you don't have to have these trans feelings anymore. Holy fuck, I wish I could have done it to me. Love and peace to all. Let's just try to accept one another for who they are.